Hey woman, you're fired. The words are not shouted. They're not sharp. They are delivered the way people dismiss a pop-up they don't intend to read. The room goes quiet before anyone understands why. It is not the silence after shouting. There has been no shouting, no slammed hands, no raised voices. This silence is cleaner than that. It is the kind that tells you the decision was made long before the sentence was spoken. No one looks at the woman standing at the far end of the table. They look at the man who said it. Because Elliot Cade does not repeat himself. He never has to. The 43rd floor is all glass and skyline. The city stretches behind him like an obedient backdrop. Steel, motion, money. A world that does not slow down just because one person's life has just been reduced to a line item. Mara Alvarez stands with her intern badge still clipped to her blazer. She did not think to remove it. Her hands are locked together so tightly, her knuckles have gone pale. "Is there a reason?" she asks. Her voice is calm. That is the mistake. Calm sounds like confidence. Confidence sounds like defiance. And in Elliot Cade's world, defiance is a disease. It spreads if you let it breathe. Elliot finally looks at her. Not with anger, not with interest, with assessment. Like she is a number on a spreadsheet that no longer balances. "You accessed restricted files," he says. "You violated protocol, and you lied about it." A small movement ripples around the table. Not surprise, adjustment. Legal shifts in their seat. HR straightens a folder that was already straight, as if neat paper can make this clean. "I didn't lie," Mara says. "I followed instructions." Elliot leans back. The chair is custom. Everything in this room is designed to support him, to frame him, to remind everyone that he is the point of the building. "You followed instructions that were not yours to follow," he replies. "That makes you a risk." A risk. Not a person, not a young woman who stayed late, stayed invisible, stayed useful until she wasn't. A risk. Elliot glances toward security. It is not dramatic. It is not aggressive. It is efficient. "Escort her out." And that is it. The screen behind him changes. Charts replace her. Someone clears their throat and resumes speaking, relieved. Power does not pause. Mara does not move. For half a second, Elliot expects tears. It happens often enough. People break in front of him. They cry. They plead. They promise. He watches it the way he watches weather. Unpleasant. Temporary. Not his responsibility. But Mara does not cry. She places one hand on the edge of the table to steady herself. Then her other hand drops, not dramatically, instinctively, to her stomach. It is a small movement, almost nothing. No one else notices, but Elliot does. And for the first time since he spoke, something inside him hesitates. Not understanding, recognition. "Sir?" Security murmurs. Mara looks at Elliot one last time. "You'll regret this," she says. Not as a threat, as a statement of fact. Then she turns and walks out. The doors close behind her. The meeting continues, and Elliot Cade forgets her name within minutes. The elevator ride down is too long. Mara keeps her face still because she knows the cameras are everywhere. Not news cameras, corporate ones, hallway eyes, the kind of surveillance that never sleeps and never forgets. She walks through the lobby like she belongs there, even as her badge feels heavier on her chest. A guard opens the door. Cold air hits her. And only when the glass slides shut behind her does she let her shoulders drop. Her phone vibrates. A message lights up from a number saved under one word: Vance. "Don't panic. I'll handle it." Mara stares at the screen. Her thumb hovers, then types, "You said it was approved." 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. "You shouldn't have said my name in writing. Delete that." Her stomach tightens, but not from fear, from recognition, because the files were not accessed by accident. She had been sent, and someone was already erasing the trail. 3 hours later, Elliot Cade is still in control of his day. That is his favorite kind of day. Meetings, approvals, numbers climbing exactly where they should, people obeying without being reminded. He ignores an email from HR marked urgent, termination review. Urgency is a tool people use when they cannot afford patience. Then another email arrives, legal. Then a call from communications. Then, silence. That silence is different. By the time Elliot steps into his private elevator, his assistant is already waiting. "Sir, there's a situation." "There is always a situation," he replies. "Yes, but this one is external." Elliot does not like that word. "What happened?" "She went public," the assistant says. Elliot's jaw tightens. "About what?" "She didn't insult you. She didn't ask for money. She didn't even say you knew," the assistant continues. Elliot turns his head slowly. "Then why are you standing like that?" His assistant swallows. "She attached medical documentation." The elevator stops, too smoothly. "What documentation?" he asks. Her voice drops. "Prenatal." The word hangs there, small, ugly. "That doesn't concern us," Elliot says immediately. "We are not responsible for personal circumstances." "Yes, sir, but the internet disagrees." Elliot does not walk toward his car. "How many views?" he asks. 6 million, in under 2 hours. The number hits harder than the word did. Elliot exhales once. Something has shifted, and whatever this is now, it is already moving faster than control. The story is already everywhere by the time Mara understands it exists. She is sitting on the edge of her bed, shoes still on, jacket folded beside her like something she might need again soon, when her phone begins vibrating in a way that feels wrong. Not one message, not one call, a cascade. Her screen lights up with usernames she does not recognize, news alerts she did not subscribe to, notifications stacking so fast they blur into each other. She opens one, then another. Her chest tightens. A clip is playing automatically, grainy, cropped, familiar. The boardroom. Elliot's voice. "Hey woman, you're fired." The audio cuts before her response, before context, before the silence that followed, before anything that might complicate the sentence. Below the clip, screenshots scroll, a termination notice, a calendar timestamp. Then, her breath catches. A medical document, her name, her date of birth, the word prenatal highlighted in yellow like a verdict. Mara stares at the screen. Her hands go cold. She did not post this. She did not send this to anyone. She didn't even know half of these documents existed outside the clinic. Her phone vibrates again. A call from a number she doesn't recognize. She lets it ring. Another call. Another. She locks the screen and drops the phone on the bed like it burned her. Across the city, Elliot Cade is still pretending the day is normal. He is halfway through a briefing when his assistant steps into the room without knocking. That alone changes the temperature. "Sir," she says quietly, "we need to pause." The executives around the table look irritated. This meeting was scheduled weeks ago. Money is involved. Deadlines are involved. Elliot looks up. "Why?" She hesitates. That hesitation costs her. "Say it," he says. "The clip is trending," she replies, "and not in our favor." Elliot's eyes narrow. "What clip?" She taps her tablet and turns it toward him. He watches his mouth move, hears his own voice, sees the sentence reduced to a headline-sized weapon. The room holds its breath. "Who released this?" Elliot asks. "We don't know. The account is anonymous. Advocacy language, supportive framing." "Did she speak?" "No," the assistant says quickly. "She hasn't said a word." Elliot leans back slowly. Something has shifted. And whatever this is now, it is already moving faster than control. That is worse. Silence can be filled. Silence can be rewritten. Silence invites projection. "Legal?" he asks. "Monitoring," she replies. "PR is drafting." "Drafting what?" Elliot says. "A holding statement. Neutral, calm, non-defensive." Elliot nods once. "Send it to me." She doesn't move. "There's something else," she says. Elliot's patience thins. "What?" "The narrative forming online," she continues carefully, "isn't about policy violations." "What is it about?" She swallows. "Power imbalance." The word lands heavier than accusation. "She's being framed as brave," the assistant adds, "and silent." Elliot exhales through his nose. Brave. Silent. Those are dangerous adjectives. Mara sits frozen on her bed, scrolling now despite herself. The comments blur together. Some are furious, some are sympathetic, some are cruel in ways she did not know language could be. She sees her face dissected by strangers, her posture, her clothes, her body. One comment sticks. Notice how she didn't deny it. Mara laughs once. It comes out sharp and hollow. She didn't deny it because she didn't even know it was happening. Her phone lights up again. A message from an unknown number. You don't need to explain. We believe you. She doesn't reply. Another message appears. Silence is powerful. Don't waste it. Her stomach twists. She scrolls further. An account claiming to be a former employee posts a long thread explaining how she gamed the system, how she knew what she was doing, how she used timing. None of it is true. All of it sounds convincing. Mara drops the phone. Across the city, Elliot stands alone in his office, watching the skyline reflect his own face back at him. He has read the PR draft 3 times. It is careful. It is correct. It is useless. We regret the timing of the termination, but stand by internal compliance procedures. Timing. As if timing is the problem. His assistant waits by the door. She hasn't spoken, Elliot says. No, she replies. Why? He asks. She chooses honesty. Because the moment she does, she loses control. Elliot turns. Explain. She didn't accuse, the assistant says. She documented. People are filling in the rest. And if she speaks now, Elliot asks, she becomes emotional, defensive, human. Elliot understands immediately. The internet does not reward humanity. It rewards stories. Mara's phone buzzes again. Same unknown number. If you speak now, you become the problem. Her fingers hover over the keyboard. Who is this? She types. The response comes instantly. Someone who knows how this ends. Her chest tightens. She locks the phone and presses it face down against the mattress. She stands and walks to the bathroom, looks at herself in the mirror. She looks the same, but the world has already decided she is something else. Her phone vibrates again. This time it's a name she recognizes. Vance. Do not engage. We're trying to contain it. Contain. Like a spill. Like a fire. She types back. You said I was protected. The dots appear. Disappear. Then, you are, as long as you don't make this worse. Mara feels something shift. Not fear. Clarity. She scrolls back to the first anonymous message. Silence is powerful. She understands now. This is not about truth. It is about who speaks first and who is allowed to. Outside her window, the city keeps moving. Cars, lights, people with places to be who have no idea her name is trending. Mara sits back on the bed and places one hand on her stomach, not for comfort, for grounding. She does not post. She does not respond. She lets the story keep talking without her. And somewhere behind a screen she cannot see, someone begins adjusting the narrative in real time, already preparing for what happens if she breaks. The email arrives at 7:42 a.m. Not dramatic, not threatening, polite. Mara almost deletes it. She is standing in her kitchen staring at the kettle she forgot to turn on when her phone vibrates on the counter. One vibration, controlled, official. Subject, inquiry regarding unauthorized possession of corporate data. Her stomach tightens. She opens it. The language is calm, careful, designed to sound reasonable. We are currently reviewing potential violations related to possession of proprietary materials accessed during your internship. Reviewing, potential, possession. Words that pretend they are not already decisions. Her phone rings immediately after. A number she doesn't recognize. She lets it ring twice before answering. Is this Mara Alvarez? A man asks. Yes. This is Daniel Klein, Corporate Compliance Counsel. You're not in trouble, he says smoothly. We just need to clarify a few things. About what? She asks. About what you still have, he replies. The line goes quiet. I don't have anything, Mara says. There's a pause. Not surprise. Calculation. Our logs indicate otherwise, Klein says, which is why we recommend you retain independent counsel. The call ends. No threats, no shouting, just the suggestion that time is already running. Her lawyer arrives an hour later. Not a big firm, not flashy, a woman with tired eyes and a voice that does not soften bad news. They sit across from each other at Mara's small table. The kettle is still cold. They're positioning this as possession, the lawyer says, scrolling through her tablet. But I didn't download anything, Mara replies. I didn't send anything. That may not matter, the lawyer says. Mara frowns again. How can it not matter? The lawyer turns the tablet toward her. There's a folder you accessed once. Mara recognizes the name instantly. Her chest tightens. That wasn't a folder, she says slowly. It opened and closed by itself. The lawyer nods. That's because it wasn't designed to be read. It was designed to be touched. Mara's mouth goes dry. What does that mean? The lawyer hesitates, then chooses precision. It functions as a possession marker, she says. The moment your credentials interacted with it, your device was logged as having custody of its contents. But I never saw anything, Mara says. You didn't need to, the lawyer replies. The system doesn't track intent, it tracks contact. Something cold settles behind her ribs. So they sent me in, Mara says quietly. On purpose? The lawyer doesn't answer immediately. That would be one interpretation, she says. Another is that someone anticipated this moment. Mara looks down at her hands. She thinks of the anonymous message. You were never supposed to be visible. Her phone buzzes again. She doesn't check it. Across the city, Elliot Cade is learning the full truth from a different angle. He stands in his office, jacket off, sleeves rolled to his forearms, staring at access logs pulled by his security team before his resignation paperwork even finishes processing. Run it again, Elliot snaps. The analyst swallows. Sir, we've confirmed it. Confirmed what? Elliot snaps. That executive approvals under your profile don't require direct authentication. They operate as identity keys. Elliot's jaw tightens. Explain, he says. Your name functions as a system-level credential. Multiple departments can route actions through it without triggering secondary confirmation. Elliot stares at the screen. His signature appears again and again. Clean, valid, unquestioned. But I didn't authorize these, Elliot says. The analyst nods. That may be true. Elliot turned sharply. Maybe? In this system, the analyst says carefully, authorization is inferred, not requested. Elliot exhales slowly. His innocence is real and completely irrelevant. Who designed this? Elliot asks. The analyst hesitates. Operations, he says, years ago. Elliot already knows who that means. Vance. Mara sits very still as her lawyer continues. They're not accusing you yet, the lawyer says. They're setting the frame. For what? Mara asks. For intent, the lawyer replies. Once they establish possession, intent becomes implied. Mara's throat tightens. So they can say I planned this. Yes, the lawyer says, or that you were reckless. And the pregnancy? Mara asks. The lawyer's expression tightens. That complicates things, she says. It makes you sympathetic, which also makes you suspicious. Mara lets out a short, humorless laugh. So I lose either way. Not necessarily, the lawyer says, but you have to be very careful about who you talk to next. As if summoned, Mara's phone vibrates. A new message. Unknown number. They're preparing to say you kept copies. Mara stares at the screen. Who is this? She types. The reply comes fast. Someone who knows how this is built. Her lawyer watches her face change. Do you know who that is? She asks. No, Mara replies. But they know you, the lawyer says. Mara nods slowly. Yes, she says, and they're not trying to help me. Elliot stands in the hallway outside Vance Rourke's office. The door is closed. That alone is unusual. He knocks once and enters without waiting. Vance looks up from his desk, expression smooth, controlled. You look busy, Vance says. I need to understand something, Elliot replies. Of course, Vance says. What's wrong? Did you route her into that folder? Elliot asks. Vance doesn't blink. I routed a task, he says. She exceeded scope. That folder doesn't contain information. It tags devices. Vance tilts his head slightly. Does it? He asks. Elliot steps closer. You sent her into a trap. Vance leans back. I sent her into a system, he replies. The same one you've benefited from for years. Elliot's voice drops. You used my name. Vance smiles faintly. Your name is the system, he says. That's not my design, that's governance. Elliot stares at him. And now? Elliot asks. Vance's voice remains calm. And now, he says, we manage the fallout. Mara's lawyer packs up her tablet. They'll contact you formally soon, she says. When they do, say nothing. Mara nods. The lawyer pauses at the door. There is one thing, she adds. What? Mara asks. If someone offers you protection, read every word. After the door closes, the apartment feels smaller. Mara's phone vibrates again. This time, the name is not hidden. Celine Park. Mara's breath catches. She hesitates, then answers. Mara Alvarez, Celine's voice says smoothly. I know this is a difficult moment. Mara says nothing. We've been watching how this is unfolding, Celine continues, and we believe it's getting dangerous. Dangerous for who? Mara asks. For you, Celine replies. Legally, publicly, personally. Myra closes her eyes. And what do you want? She asks. Celine doesn't hesitate. We can protect you, she says, but only if you let us manage the story. The line goes quiet, and Myra understands with sudden clarity that the firing was never the trap. Visibility was. Celine does not suggest meeting in a cafe. She does not offer a neutral public space. She sends an address, a glass office tower across town with no signage on the outside. Not a clinic, not a newsroom, not a police station. Something quieter, a place built for problems that are supposed to disappear. Myra reads the message twice, then a third time. Her lawyer's warning echoes. If someone offers you protection, read every word. She does not reply. A new message appears immediately. A car will be downstairs in 10 minutes. No press, no questions, just options. Options. That word is always a lie when power is involved. Myra stands at the window and watches the street below. A black sedan pulls up exactly on time. No logo, no driver stepping out to open the door, no polite urgency, just a car that assumes compliance. Her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. Don't go. She freezes. Why? She types. The reply takes longer than usual. Because the moment you enter their building, you stop being a person and become a product. Myra stares at the screen until her eyes burn. She looks down at her stomach. Then she picks up her bag anyway. Not because she trusts Celine, because she trusts what she already learned. They are moving fast. They are isolating her. They are building a case while she sits pretending silence will protect her. She walks downstairs. The driver does not speak. The door unlocks before she reaches it. The city slides past in smooth, silent motion. Myra keeps her eyes forward. She does not check her phone again, because she already knows what this ride is. Not transportation, containment. The building lobby smells like money without warmth. Polished stone, quiet lighting, no employees in sight. Only a security desk with a man trained to pretend he is not a threat. He does not ask for her name. He already has it. Miss Alvarez, he says. This way. An elevator opens without a button being pressed. Myra steps inside. The doors close. The ride is short. The silence is not. On the top floor, Celine Park is waiting. She looks exactly like someone who has never lost control of a room. Her hair is smooth. Her suit is perfect. Her expression calm in the way sharks are calm. Mara, Celine says warmly, like they know each other. Myra does not return the warmth. You got my number, Myra says. Celine smiles faintly. We get a lot of numbers. She gestures toward a conference room. No windows, no outside light, no city view. Just a table, water, and a screen on the wall. Myra scans the corners. No obvious cameras. That does not mean anything. Celine sits first. Myra sits opposite. Celine does not waste time. Here's the truth, Celine says. The internet thinks you posted that clip. I didn't, Myra says. I know, Celine replies. But you were not being judged by what you did. You were being judged by what people can believe. Myra grips the edge of her chair. And you can fix that? She says. Yes, Celine nods, once. Yes. Myra waits. Celine slides a folder across the table. Not aggressively, carefully, like a gift. This is our offer, Celine says. Myra does not touch it. What is it? She asks. Protection, Celine replies. Legal shielding, security, financial support, narrative control, a clean exit if you want it. A clean exit? Myra repeats. Celine's expression doesn't change. It's a storm, she says. Storms pass. Some people get struck before they do. Myra opens the folder. The document is thick, dense, written in language that sounds like safety and smells like ownership. She reads. Her breathing changes. On page 3, she sees it. Client agrees that all public communication related to this matter will be coordinated through Cade Group Communications. Coordinated. Myra looks up. So I can't speak, she says. You can, Celine replies. You just can't improvise. Myra flips the page. Another line. Client agrees not to disclose medical information without prior review to prevent misinterpretation. Her throat tightens. So they can say I need permission to talk about my own body? Celine's expression tightens like a locked door. I'm telling you the world will weaponize anything you say, so we make sure you don't hand them bullets. Mara closes the folder. So you're buying my silence? Celine holds her gaze. I'm buying your survival. Mara leans back. And what do you get? She asks. Celine pauses. Not because she doesn't know, because she wants it to sound reasonable. We stabilize the company, Celine says. We prevent escalation. We keep you from being turned into a scapegoat. That's not what I asked, Mara says. Celine's voice remains calm. We get control. There it is. Honesty, disguised as professionalism. Mara looks down again. A cage made of soft materials. You can throttle it, Mara says quietly. Bury content. Shape memory. Celine does not deny it. She does not confirm it either. She smiles like someone who does not need to. Public memory is short, Celine says. We help it move on. Mara's pulse kicks harder. So, the pregnancy leak, she says. That was you? Celine's smile does not move. I didn't say that. You're not disgusted, Mara says. You're impressed. Celine exhales slowly. I'm realistic. Disgust doesn't change outcomes. Mara forces herself to stay seated. Why are you here? She asks. Why you? Celine answers without warmth. Because I know what they're preparing to do to you. Who is they? The board. Mara's arms go cold. And Elliot? She asks. Celine hesitates. Resistant, she says. But resistance without leverage is noise. Mara laughs quietly. Of course. Celine slides the folder back toward her. Sign, she says softly, and I stop the legal escalation. Mara stares at it. Her lawyer's voice echoes again. Read every word. She flips to the last page. There it is. Any future breach of this agreement will be treated as intentional harm to corporate stability. Mara closes the folder gently, then slides it back. I'm not signing, she says. Celine watches her. No surprise, no anger, Just calculation. Then leave through the back, Celine says. If the front cameras catch you walking out, they'll turn this meeting into a confession. Mara's blood runs cold. Are they watching the building? The machine is always watching. Mara stands. At least tell me who leaked the prenatal documents, she says. Celine's smile tightens. I want you useful, she replies. Mara holds her gaze for a beat. Then she leaves. In the car, her phone buzzes non-stop. She does not answer. Headlines are already shifting. Intern lawyers up. Sources say documents may be stolen. CEO still silent. Celine was right about one thing. Silence is no longer neutral. It is suspicious. Her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. You shouldn't have gone. Now they know you're scared. Mara types one sentence. Who are you? The reply comes after a delay. Someone who built the cage you're standing in. Her phone rings. A new incoming call. Vivian Cade. Mara does not answer. A text arrives immediately after. Yes, the child is his. No, you will not touch this publicly. Mara stares at the screen because she understands exactly what that means. Someone above Elliot is moving now. Someone older. Someone who does not need a title to control the room. Vivian Cade does not call again. She does not need to. Her message sits on Mara's screen like a sealed envelope that has already been opened. Yes, the child is his. No, you will not touch this publicly. No greeting, no signature, no explanation, not reassurance, instruction. Mara reads it 3 times before she understands what it really says. You are protected, but only if you obey. Elliot receives the summons an hour later, not through his assistant, not through legal, through a calendar invitation that appears without asking. Dinner, tonight, 8 p.m. Location, home. His mother's house, the only place in the city where cameras never lingered and questions were never asked twice. Elliot stares at the invite, then accepts. Refusal is not an option. Vivian Cade's home looks nothing like power. That is deliberate. No gate, no visible security, no modern glass or steel, just an old, narrow house on a quiet street that never trends. Power that wants to be seen builds towers. Power that wants to last builds invisibility. Vivian is seated at the dining table when Elliot enters. She does not stand. She does not smile. She pours tea. Sit, she says. Elliot does. You've seen the story, Vivian says. Yes. You understand why it's dangerous, she continues. Yes. You understand why it cannot be corrected publicly. Yes. Vivian finally looks at him. Her gaze is calm, appraising, maternal in the way surgeons are maternal before cutting. She is carrying your child, Vivian says. Elliot's throat tightens. The biology is not ambiguous, she continues. I verified. Silence stretches. She didn't ask me for money, Vivian adds. She asked about medical history. Elliot nods. That matters, Vivian says. And now, Elliot asks. Vivian exhales slowly. The machine has noticed her, she says, and that is where people get destroyed. Elliot leans forward. I can protect her. Vivian lifts one finger. No, she says. You can expose her. The words land harder than accusation. Your presence is radioactive, Vivian continues. Everything you touch becomes evidence. Elliot's jaw tightens. So what do you suggest? Vivian sets her cup down carefully. You will do nothing publicly, she says. You will not confirm. You will not deny. You will not perform remorse. That leaves her alone, Elliot says. No, Vivian replies. That keeps her out of the narrative. They're preparing charges, Elliot snaps. Yes, Vivian agrees, calmly, because someone wants leverage. Vance, Elliot says. Vivian does not correct him. Instead, she says, The quiet fund began long before Vance. Elliot freezes. Vivian's voice remains steady. Years ago, there was an incident, she says, one that would have ended the company, jobs, pensions, lives. You created it, Elliot says. I permitted it. Silence thickens. That fund was designed to make problems disappear before they became stories. That's illegal, Elliot says. Vivian looks at him. So is collapse, Rishi replies. Elliot stands abruptly. They're using it to frame her. Yes, Vivian agrees, because the system no longer remembers why it exists. Then let me expose it. Let me end this. Vivian's eyes sharpen. And after, she asks, when regulators circle and the company implodes. Elliot hesitates. Who absorbs that damage? Vivian presses. The board or the people who never made the decision? Elliot exhaled sharply. So you want me silent? Vivian says, I want you precise. She stands. You will not claim the child publicly, she says. You will not resign dramatically. You will not become a hero. And if I refuse? Vivian's voice softens. Then you will remove the last buffer between her and prosecution. The words sink in. Do not step down, Vivian adds. It is not advice, it is command. Mara receives the visit that night. No warning, no entourage. Vivian Cade stands outside her apartment door alone. Mara opens it and immediately understands something. This woman is not here to threaten her. She is here to set terms. May I come in? Vivian asks. Mara steps aside. They sit at the small kitchen table. Vivian looks around once. I'm not here to negotiate, she says. I'm here to inform. About what? Mara asks. About what you're now part of. Mara lifts her chin. I didn't choose this. No, Vivian agrees. You were chosen. Silence. My son is careless, Vivian says. Cruel is not his flaw. That doesn't help me, Mara replies. No, but accuracy matters. And the child? Mara asks. Vivian's voice softens slightly. The child is not a weapon, she says, and I will not allow anyone to turn it into one. Mara stares at her. You're protecting him, she says. And you, Vivian adds. By telling me to stay quiet? Yes. Trust? Mara asks. No, Vivian says. Trust is not required. The word lands heavy. Compliance. One more thing, Vivian says, standing. If Elliot resigns, they will accelerate. Mara's breath catches. They want him gone, Vivian continues, because he is friction. Once removed, the machine moves cleanly. Vivian opens the door. He will ignore me, she says calmly. He always confuses sacrifice with virtue. She leaves. Elliot resigns the next morning. The announcement is brief, clean, responsible. The board accepts immediately. Too immediately. Mara sees the alert on her phone. Former CEO steps down amid controversy. Her stomach tightens. A message arrives from an unknown number. They're activating containment. Then another, from her lawyer. Charges are moving faster. Across the city, Elliot signs the final document. The moment it clears, access disappears. Emails lock. Doors stop opening. Names vanish from systems. Elliot stands alone in the office that no longer recognizes him. And for the first time, he understands. His resignation did not slow the machine. It freed it. The first thing Elliot loses is not his office. It is time. The resignation clears at 9:01 a.m. By 9:04, his access badge no longer opens the executive elevator. By 9:07, his email locks him out mid-refresh. No warning, no courtesy delay. The machine does not mourn. Elliot stands in the corridor while assistants avoid eye contact like he is already radioactive. His phone vibrates. 3 missed calls, all from Mara's lawyer. Mara learns the cost of Elliot's sacrifice from a voicemail. Not a knock, not a warrant, a voicemail. Ms. Alvarez, the recorded voice says, professional and tired. This message is to inform you that formal charges related to unauthorized possession of proprietary corporate materials are being prepared. Please have your counsel contact our office immediately. Mara sits very still on the edge of her bed. Possession. The word has teeth now. Her lawyer calls seconds later. They moved it up, she says. They're filing today. Because of Elliot? Mara asked. There is a pause. Yes, the lawyer replies. Mara closes her eyes. Vivian was right. Elliot gets confirmation in a hallway he is no longer authorized to enter. Vance meets him outside the boardroom. No hostility, no urgency, just inevitability. You resigned, so the board assumed control. You escalated legal action, Elliot says. Yes, that was always the plan. Elliot stares at him. You anticipated my resignation. Vance smiles faintly. I planned for all outcomes. You used me. You were always useful, Vance says. You just thought usefulness was moral. She's being charged because of me, Elliot snaps. Because you removed friction. The system hates friction. Elliot exhales sharply. I tried to do the right thing. That's the problem. You did it loudly. By afternoon, Mara's name is no longer framed as a question. It is framed as a risk. Intern formally charged. Sources cite unauthorized possession. Former CEO resigns. The story tightens. Mara's lawyer spreads papers across the table. They're framing this as premeditated, she says, that you accessed the folder knowing what it was. That's a lie, Mara says. Yes, the lawyer replies, but it's clean. And Elliot? Mara asks. The lawyer hesitates. They're implying coordination. Mara laughs once. So him trying to protect me made it worse. Yes, the lawyer says quietly. Mara looks down at her stomach. The child shifts. Her breath catches. Celine's release drops at 6:18 p.m. Not to the press, to regulators. Selective emails, approval chains, payment records. Enough to prove misconduct, not enough to reveal design. The public celebrates. Social media erupts over corporate corruption. Whistleblowers praised. Board commends transparency. Mara reads the headlines with a sinking feeling. Something is wrong. The truth feels clean, too clean. She scrolls, then freezes. A timestamp, off by 4 minutes. She zooms in, then again. Her pulse spikes. One of the documents is wrong, not accidentally, strategically. Elliot sees it at the same moment. The lie is elegant, the kind that survives audits because it is close enough to the truth. Celine's signature touch. He calls her immediately. You altered the timeline. We stabilized it. You poisoned evidence. I made it usable. Unfiltered truth gets buried. If she uses this, Elliot snaps, she risks perjury. Yes, Celine replies calmly, which is why she won't. Silence stretches. You're isolating her, Elliot says. I'm protecting the outcome. And what outcome is that? One where the machine survives. The line goes dead. Elliot stands in the dark of his apartment, feeling something shift. Celine is not helping Mara. Celine is protecting the company. And if Mara survives, it will only be because she becomes manageable. Mara sits with her lawyer the next morning. Sunlight creeps across the floor like it doesn't know what it's entering. "So what do I do?" Mara asks. The lawyer hesitates. "Nothing," she says, "for now." Nothing keeps getting more expensive. "Yes," the lawyer replies, but speaking just became lethal. Mara's phone vibrates. Unknown number. Funny how the truth became unusable. Mara types back before she can stop herself. "Who is this?" The reply comes slower than usual. "Someone who knows how this ends if you keep looking at the wrong villain." Mara's pulse spikes. Another message follows. "Check the authorization history. Before Celine." Mara's fingers go cold. Before Celine. Before Vance. Before the board's convenient scapegoats. She looks at her lawyer. "Can you pull older system approvals?" Her lawyer frowns. "That is hard," she says carefully. "Hard is not impossible," Mara replies. Her lawyer studies her face and sees it. Mara is not asking for comfort. She is asking for a target that matters. That afternoon, Elliot receives a file from a source that should not exist. No message, no explanation, just a document. Legacy authorization, initial approval. He opens it. The date makes his chest tighten. Years before Vance, before Celine, before most of the current board. A name sits at the top. Vivian Cade. Elliot closes the file slowly, not because he doubts it, because he understands it. His mother did not just advise the system, she signed it into existence. Vance is in his office when Celine's transparency tour plays across the screens. He watches the praise, the relief, the public's hunger for a simple villain. He does not smile. This is not victory, it is stability. Vance opens his own secure folder, not to erase, to redirect. He sends one message, not to Mara, not to Elliot, to the board. The authorization predates me. No subject line, no explanation, just a reminder, because legacy always buys time, and if time is the currency, Vance knows exactly who is richest. Mara's phone rings that evening. Not hidden, a name, Vance Rourke. Mara stares at it, then answers. "You were looking in the wrong place," Vance says without greeting. Mara's voice is steady. "You framed me." "I routed you," Vance replies. "That is not the same thing. You tagged me." "Yes," he says calmly, "but I did not build the tag." Mara's throat tightens. "Then who did?" There is a pause, longer than usual. "Ask yourself," Vance says, "who benefits from the fund never being questioned?" The line goes dead. Mara sits very still. The room feels smaller, older, like she is standing inside a story that started long before she arrived. Her phone buzzes again. A message from Elliot. "We need to talk. I think I know where this really starts." Mara closes her eyes, because she already feels the answer pressing against her ribs. This war is not about a COO. It is not about PR. It is about inheritance, and the truth does not belong to the loudest person in the room. It belongs to whoever signed first. Elliot calls Mara and does not pretend this is casual. He says, "I found the original authorization." Mara does not answer right away. She sits on the edge of her bed, phone pressed to her ear, staring at a crack in the wall she has meant to fix since before any of this mattered. "Whose name?" she asks. A pause. Not Vance, not Celine. Mara closes her eyes. "Your mother," she says. "Yes." The word lands like gravity finally showing its hand. Mara exhales once, slow and controlled. "So it was never about me," she says. "It was," Elliot replies, "but not first." Mara's voice stays flat. "You brought me into a war I did not start." "I know," Elliot says. "That is not an apology. That is a confession." Elliot swallows. "We need to meet," he says, "somewhere neutral." "There is no neutral," Mara answers, "only places with fewer cameras." They choose the only option that feels less owned. A clinic. Not romantic, not symbolic, just a place with rules that are supposed to mean something. Elliot arrives first. No suit, no entourage, no assistant with a tablet. He looks smaller than he did in the boardroom, not because his power is gone, because the machine has stopped pretending he's the center. When Mara walks in, she does not rush. She does not perform calm. She is calm. Elliot stands when he sees her, then stops himself halfway, like he realizes motion can be misread now. "I did not know," he says immediately. "I believe you," Mara replies. That surprises him. Mara continues before he can use the belief as shelter. Belief does not change consequence, so do not use it to soften what happened. Elliot nods once. "She authorized the fund," he says, "years ago, after an incident the board never recovered from." What kind of incident? One that would have ended the company. Jobs, pensions, people's lives. Mara watches him carefully, and she called it protection, Mara says. "She called it survival," Elliot corrects. Mara's mouth tightens. "That is always how it starts," she says. "Somebody chooses quiet, then the quiet becomes permission." Elliot does not argue, because he is already past defense. He is at the point where he has to decide what he is willing to lose. Vivian does not deny it. She never does. When Elliot confronts her that evening, she listens without interruption, tea cooling untouched in her hands, as if time is still obedient in her home. "You found the file," she says calmly. "Yes," Elliot replies. "You signed it." "I permitted it," Vivian corrects precisely. "I did not design the abuses that followed." "You designed the cover," Elliot says. Vivian looks at him the way she always has, not like a mother, like a standard. "And you benefited from it," she says quietly. The room tightens. Mara's name sits between them like something fragile that never should have been dragged inside. "You used her as insulation," Elliot says. Vivian exhales slowly. "She was already in the blast radius," she replies. "You are angry because you see her clearly now. That is new for you." Elliot's jaw tightens. She is carrying my child. Vivian's gaze sharpens. "And that," she says, "is why this cannot go public." Elliot takes a step back as if struck. "You are still thinking in terms of optics," he says. "I am thinking in terms of survival. Yours, hers, the child's." "And at what cost?" Elliot asks. Vivian stands. "At the cost of illusion," she says, "not reality." The clinic becomes the battleground before Mara can choose anything. She steps out of an exam room and hits a wall of sound. Phones, voices, questions shouted like they are entitled to answers. "Did you know the fund predates the COO? Is this a family operation? Was the pregnancy used as leverage?" Mara's vision narrows. This is not random. It is coordinated. She grips the strap of her bag, instinctive and protective, and turns and sees Elliot already moving. He does not shout. He does not threaten. He simply steps between Mara and the cameras like his body can still function as policy. She is not answering questions. He says one sentence, clean, deadly. A camera catches it, and a prosecutor later will call it coordination. Mara feels heat crawl up her chest. "Do not," she hisses under her breath. "It's already happening," Elliot replies quietly. The damage spreads anyway. Within hours, the narrative shifts again. Not rogue executive, not corrupted COO. Legacy, old money, inherited silence. The most dangerous story of all. That night, Mara's lawyer calls. "This is bad," she says. "They're reframing proximity as evidence. That sentence he said is going to be framed as shared strategy." Mara closes her eyes. "Because he stood there," Mara says. "Yes," the lawyer replies. "Heroics read like guilt." Mara sits very still. Her phone buzzes again. An unknown number. Notice how the story punishes anyone who tries to help you publicly. Mara deletes it without replying. Then she does something the machine does not expect. She stops trying to speak, and she starts moving paper. Mara sends 2 packages. No statements, no crying video, no interview. Evidence. The first goes to Vivian. No note, no accusation, just one attachment. A side-by-side comparison. Celine's released timeline on one side, original server logs on the other. 4 minutes. The forged timestamp. Vivian will understand immediately because Vivian built systems that rely on precision, and this is imprecise. The second package goes to regulators, not Celine's poison demolition, a clean trail, routing paths, unaltered metadata, approvals that stop exactly where responsibility changes hands. It does not name Vivian, it does not accuse Celine. It proves structure, it proves design, it proves inevitability. Mara attaches no personal statement. She lets the documents speak without her. Celine overreaches. That is how Mara knows it worked. A clarification memo drops, then another, then a soft rebuttal. Celine keeps talking, and every word she adds widens the contrast. Mara's silence is not empty. It is a mirror. By noon, the board fractures quietly, not in a dramatic vote, in calls that stop getting returned, in counsel who recommend individual representation, in executives asking whether indemnification applies to legacy decisions. The quiet fund stops being quiet, not because it is trending, because nobody is willing to protect it privately. Mara's body decides the final timing, not the headlines, not the lawyers. Pain arrives without negotiation, sharp and undeniable. This is not stress. This is labor. There are no cameras when she goes in, no leaks, no trending alerts. Her mother holds her hand. The doctor speaks plainly. Hours blur. Then a cry. Small, fierce, alive. The room changes shape around it. Nothing else matters. Weeks pass. Regulators move slowly, then all at once. Vance is removed pending investigation. Celine resigns to pursue other opportunities. The board issues a statement that says everything and nothing. The fund is dismantled without ever being named. No parade, no apology tour, just systems quietly losing their grip. Elliot does not get a redemption arc. He does not become the hero who saved the intern. He loses power permanently, and the temptation to perform is gone. He meets the baby once. No cameras, no declarations. He stands at the doorway until Mara nods. That nod is not forgiveness. It is permission. Presence is not love, Mara tells him quietly. I know, Elliot replies. They do not define anything beyond that. And that is the point. Months later, no one remembers the intern, or the firing, or the quiet fund. They remember a company that handled a crisis, a CEO who disappeared, a scandal that burned out. That is how machines survive. But inside one small apartment, something else has happened. Mara rocks her child to sleep. The phone is face down. The world is locked outside. For the first time since the boardroom, her life is not being measured. It is being lived. The story did not end because justice won. It ended because the machine lost its grip. And the only way Mara beat it was refusing to feed it.